The Shadowlands is hurtling at a meteoric rate.
That's pretty fast.
It's coming soon. It's imminent. The pre-patch is up, and now Blizzard is in the class tuning phase. That means they're moving talents around. They're going to start swapping spell powers, all that kind of stuff, buffing and nerfing to try and get the game in a state ready for release.
That's good.
That means that a lot of the main features, which is Torghast, the Sanctums, the level, is all in place, including the Covenants. So let's have our
I like how he says including the Covenants and then he smiles. Like, isn't that fucking adorable? Isn't that so fucking adorable that he says including the Covenant and then he fucking smiles? Oh. Oh, dude. Oh, that's so good.
Is all in place, including the Covenants. So let's have our final word on this.
Okay. Volume should be fine.
It's no secret the Covenants have been a controversial issue since they were announced.
Volume's fine.
Some people seeing extreme positives, some people seeing extreme negatives, and it's been a war ever since. And unfortunately, that war has turned into how it always goes with World of Warcraft discussions, and in fact, how it always goes in the rest of the world.
You know how he went on this rant? I just want to pause right now. I can explain how he went on this rant. You see behind him, you know what he's on right there? That's on the general forums. And he just got through reading probably some fucking thread about Covenants, and he thought, you know what? This is the last fucking straw. And he's like, go get the camera right now. Get the camera, turn it on, record me. We're making a video right fucking now.
The argument is now basically on the principle of the matter rather than what the actual matter is.
Yeah.
I have read through your forum posts, be it MMO Champ, Reddit, the WoW forums. I have watched the videos of the people who are very pro in terms of the Covenant player power, which I think we should clarify again for so many people, as it keeps being referred to as Covenant swapping, which isn't what most people are asking for, at least I'm not asking for, which is that we just don't want the power associated to it, because it creates very obvious, very real, very significant issues for a lot of us. We don't want that to happen because it's never been a thing in this game. It's one of the reasons we enjoy this game, and why Blizzard is interfering with that is questionable, to say the least, but we'll get to that. Luckily, I don't need to. Recently, Blizzard put up a WoW survey asking people who have been testing this, who've been playing with it for a while, what do you think?
Really?
Have we got it right? Is Preach just living in a bubble?
Yeah.
Or is this a real problem?
Wait, really?
And so far, it's been wondrous. The amount of replies is excessive. EU forums are, of course, sadly lagging behind because they tend not to even be checked, at least from...
I also want to say that the way that they structured the questions is to avoid actually getting criticism from the system itself. Reason the Covenants are least useful or most useful? Like, this has nothing to do actually with if the Covenants are good or not.
Lagging behind because they tend not to even be checked.
It's structured in a way that, you know...
And it's all good stuff. There's no rage.
Doesn't actually care about the feedback.
It's all people just trying to get out there that this seemingly has wild effects across their characters.
Yeah.
And this isn't fun for a lot of people. Some of these abilities are just flat out superior.
What a great amount of feedback. Whoever did that to God.
That, oh, you're not the
Holy
best in all scenarios. Well, some of these are better in every single scenario. That's not an argument if you've been checking into this stuff. Some of these things won't matter. That's true. And why? They're just talents. That's all they are. Any other version of World of Warcraft, the Covenant spells and abilities would have just been talents. They wouldn't have been anything else. They are just your new class spells. That's all they are.
Imagine
for the
that.
Expansion. Same as we had in the Burning Crusade, the Wrath of the Lich King, Mr. Pandaria.
That's what makes me sad. Is like I wish I'd had another row of talents. Like, I don't know. Is that selfish? Like, I don't know. I want another row of talents of things that I can pick and abilities I have. I don't want to only have one ability. I'd like to have 4. That'd be awesome.
Etc., etc. When you get a new expansion, you tend to get some new spells and abilities. That's all they are. That means they follow very similar, but not the same rules as if you went to a piece of content with the wrong talent. Are you likely to be fine? Yes. Yes, you are. I'm not going to deny that. That's nothing that I'm going to argue with. You're probably going to be okay for the content you do. Does that mean it's okay? No. No, it doesn't. And this is of vital, vital importance. Very often I see the argument is, it'll be okay. People will use what I just said to go, Preach says you'll be fine.
See, it'll be fine. Yeah, it'll be fine. You just do normal mode, it'll be fine. Like, people don't care about being good.
No, that's not what I said. Will you be fine? Sure. For the most part, nearly everybody in the game will be fine. You've used your own
I would
talents,
say so.
Will be okay. Does that mean it's fine? No, absolutely not. Just because something doesn't break the game does not mean it's okay. That is a really invalid argument. It's a terrible point of assumption that if everything doesn't collapse, then it's all good. No.
Yeah, that's true.
Why is this a huge problem then? Well, again, I'll refer to this thread because we have to break it down from the principle of meaningful choice and all this stuff that people have built up. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the interactions I've had shortly, but they're just talents. And similar to how your talents work is some talents are just flat out better than others. Now, this is where the weird discussion of meta slave comes up.
Yeah.
People have chosen sides. They're entrenched in their sides, and they have an enemy. They've created a boogeyman.
A boogeyman?
Blizzard are the ones who
that's the
decide
boogeyman.
the strength of talents. It's nothing to
That's
do
the
with
boogeyman
players.
right there,
So
Blizzard.
when players look at talents,
Fucking
and they
Blizzard.
figure out that 2 of them do 1 damage, and 1 of them does 4 damage, and then they choose the one that does 4, that doesn't make them a meta slave. It's honestly one of the most...
Yes. Fucking obviously. Thank you, Preach. Yes, it does not make you a meta slave for you to want your character to perform at a reasonable level. Like, there's a point. It's like, there's such a massive fucking gradation between meta slaving at, like, the top level and, like, always picking what other people pick, and then just making sure that you have the right talents to go into a raid. Like, I'm sorry, but, like, looking up somebody else and seeing, oh, what did this guy who did really well in the raid use? Oh, he did that? Okay, well, I might as well try that out and see how it goes. Like, are you kidding me? It makes no fucking sense, dude. Zero fucking sense. I don't get it at all.
Absurd discussions I ever see. It's nothing to do with the players who figure out which ones are better. Because some of them are just flat out clearly better. And not everybody follows them either. We have statistical data on this. You can go to Warcraft logs right now. And you can look at the top 100 logs of every single class and spec in this game.
Yep.
And they're not using the same talents, even in the top 100 passes.
They're not, but let's not pretend like there is not an overwhelming similarity. Like, every single one of them is using the exact same trinkets. Every single one of them is using most of the same talents. Like, every single one is Rune of Power. Like, this is an overwhelming majority of people that are using the same things. But Preach is right that there is some deviation. Especially right below the top 100.
Because that's not how the game works. And it falls into yet another misconception a lot of people have. This idea of one solution for everything. That only makes sense if you're one of the guys this is probably targeted at, who looks at the build. They ask a streamer, they go to a website, they ask their friends, they get what's the best talent setup, and then
what's my rotation?
The reality of
what's the best class?
Multitude
how I do the most
depending on the
DPS
situation. That's part of the fun of World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Every different affix in a Mythic Plus asks different questions. Is it Sanguine this week? Perhaps I want to take Typhoon this time.
It's a little bit different.
Is it Bolstering? Is it Necrotic? Maybe I want Trees. Is my tank weak? Maybe I want to take Trees.
Imagine dynamically changing your choices that you've made in order to suit your character for the situation that you're dealing with at that time. Like, imagine being able to, like, just say, okay, well, this is going to be a problem, so I want to gear my character to solve this problem. Like, can we imagine that? Well, enjoy it, because whenever Shadowlands comes out, you're not going to be able to. Fuck, dude.
Then there is the healer week. Maybe I want to take some off healing. Do we take a lot of damage from stuff here? Maybe I want to prevent more damage coming my way. Do I need to move around a lot here? Maybe I want something more movement based, and that's going to improve my play and make me a more useful and more wanted party member.
All right,
that's totally normal. It's in fact very base normal for every human being in every walk of life, from work all the way to video games and sports. People like playing with the players that cause more success, and a lot of players like being more successful.
Can you just? I need to go way down, guys. I'll be right back. I heard that, and it's just like that. I don't know. Is that really even true, guys? I don't know, guys. I'll be right back. I can take a piss. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, boys.
It's as simple as that. It's a very, very normal thing. But to call it meta slaves is crazy. If I was to present you with 3 PCs,
I agree,
and say you can have one for 3, and 2 of them were garbage, and one of them was a top of the line,
you're gonna go with the good one,
Ryzen Beast VR machine.
No shit.
And everybody took the VR machine. If I was to sit back smugly and go, haha, meta slaves, that would be honestly ridiculous.
It would be dumb.
It's a similar situation that we're finding ourselves in.
It would be big dumb.
Blizzard are the ones who apply the numbers and the tuning to these spells, and we work with what we get. It's as simple as that. Which also means the 1%ers are also going to be fine. They're going to play around it just as they always have, just as they always will. Does that mean it's fine? No. No. Should that mean that players need to play around a very contrived system?
No.
Let me get back to the
No.
frustration I've been feeling. So last week on Twitter, I put out a very memey video. A very silly video that we put together in less than 6 minutes.
War Walker, without your help, we would have had no chance in retaking Maldraxxus. You have single-handedly brought us together and reopened our seat of the Primus. Go now. You must seek out others who need your aid inside the Shadowlands.
Okay.
Okay.
War Walker, you have single-handedly helped every area of the Shadowlands. Now you must choose who to help in the upcoming war. For the purpose.
Okay.
Greetings once again, Mawwalker. Why do you look like this?
What, this? Oh, I'm helping the Venthia now. They have a cool armor and they're gonna have a party every single week.
How about that?
Begone! You are now the scum and villainy of the Shadowlands. Remove yourself from my sight.
Oh, well, I thought we were friends. What about single-handedly giving you a fighting chance? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That was until you chose the filthy Venthia. You will never again set
They're like
foot inside the
possessive
seat
girlfriends.
of the Primus.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh
Well, I
my
guess I'll go
god.
then.
No, it is great that you are here. We
This is
desperately
so
need your
terrible.
help. And as you know, the Maldraxxi and the Venthia are
This
close
is so
allies.
terrible.
Wait, what? You just said...
You are the only one in all of the
God.
Shadowlands who can save us. We owe you everything.
No, I'm not helping you.
Haha, but you must, because my questline is mandatory.
Which was honestly a response to my frustration. As again,
It was a
this
good
sort of
video. It's a
figurehead
great video.
talking about this, I received comments from
Well,
not only
no,
my
I
fan
didn't.
base, but from
I
everybody
had
who has a
cleaned it.
vested interest in this matter. So my email inbox and my Discord was filling up with private messages of really well thought out, for the most part, really careful, really passionate is a word I would use, almost essays on the RPG aspect of what this has been sold as it has been marketed as. And people were explaining to me what I wasn't seeing as the big picture, because I don't care
Yeah.
about the story. That's true. I don't care about transmog. That's true. I don't care about a lot of things in WoW. I like what I like, which is many other aspects that other people don't like.
As if the story makes any fucking sense. Like I said this the other day, you are literally the Mawwalker. That's why every covenant wants you to be part of it. Like they love you. It doesn't make any sense, and they're all working together for the same goal. But for some reason, if you leave one covenant to join another, now they hate you and you can't come back. It actually doesn't make sense in the lore. And even if it does slightly, if a few fucking quest texts, you know what Blizzard needs to do? Delete, 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 and then add in, and now you can pursue another covenant and help everybody else in the Shadowlands because you are the Mawwalker and you're the best and you're the player and you're the champion. You're so cool. Please keep paying $15 fucking dollars. And that's all they have to do. Like they invent this. This is an invented problem.
So people were explaining to me is that you're
Yeah.
not seeing this, Mike. And they were going into how this was going to interplay and their character was going to be tied to their covenants and the covenant coming against each other. But essentially, that's fan fiction to the reality. The reality is absolutely nothing in the Shadowlands reflects the covenant choice at all. I'm not just talking about player power, choosing a covenant in any way, shape, or form. It is not reflected in the least in the game.
How's that?
The whole concept of this being some sort of RPG element is dead. It doesn't exist inside the game world. Now, that has been twisted since then.
So it's actually just a talent point.
I want to say very big thank you to the guys who are interested in the story, who are interested in
Yeah.
the context of our decisions, who came out and said, it's true, like, this is anti-RPG. What's happening in the Shadowlands with the Covenants, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but you'll see it, so you can take my word on it if you want.
Okay.
But once you play through it, you'll see exactly what we're talking about.
We'll see.
It is antithetical to what's actually happening inside of the game world and what's happening with our characters. They're completely at odds with each other. The system is, unfortunately, entirely contrived. Now, I want to put something clear here, because I have videos backing this up. Once the Covenant system was announced, I was one of the first people to say, this is really cool from an RPG perspective. Some people don't seem to understand that I love RPGs. Ever since
What did I say about it whenever it came out? I was like that. I probably said the same. I was like, yeah, it's cool. I don't even fucking remember. Why getting mad? They'll balance this in time. They can't balance it. Like, if they balance, there's no way. Like, does anybody in here genuinely think that they're going to be able to balance all of these different systems to be equally useful in PvP, PvE, raiding, dungeons, and arena at the same time? Does anybody, have they ever done that with anything? No, they haven't. Yeah, they can't they can't balance Azerite armor. They can't balance shit. Making these tied to covenants is a bad decision. It is alpha. Yeah, that's right. That's why I'm telling it now. I'm saying it now. As soon as we possibly fucking can. Because if we don't say it now, then it's just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse. That's why we have to say it. Like, no, we have to be very, very vocal as early as possible. This is a bad decision. It will lead to bad outcomes, and there is no way to fix it except for scrapping the entire thing and redesigning the way that players obtain the abilities and the availability of the abilities. If they don't do that, it's going to suck. Or maybe they'll fix it in 9.3. You're right. There is that. Fuck, dude. If I want a balanced game, I just play a MOBA? Oh, come on, man. Just because I don't want perfect balance doesn't mean that I want them to engineer points of unfairness. Like, come on, man. Like, it's not like that. Just stop.
Since I was a little kid, I played the Chrono Triggers, I played the original Final Fantasies, all the way to the modern RPGs. I've played many, many, probably hundreds of RPGs over my years of being involved with games.
Played a number
I
of them
love
too.
them very, very much. I have great fun with them, and I love making choices in them because those choices affect what I'm doing in the game. They affect my game world. Those are always, for me, the funnest choices. Followers to choose, if it's Mass Effect or Fallout, anything like that, and then finding out whether I like these people, what are they offering me, and then making a choice based on those things.
Okay.
That is not what takes place in the Shadowlands. A lot of people have brought up things like Knights of the Old Republic. Well, in that game, you are forced to choose Sith or Jedi, and that way you don't get access to the other's abilities. You see, it's the same as Shadowlands. No. I would argue, and I think pretty sensibly, that whether you choose to side with the Sith or the Jedi in a Star Wars game is a major story point. It's contextually accurate to what's going to happen in the world, and
I've seen Star Wars before, and I can actually back this up. The story for like a Sith and a Jedi is pretty different. Yeah, it's a pretty different thing because like they do different things, they have different abilities. You know, it's very different story. So it's not exactly the same thing as, you know, you go around and you do quests for everybody. You do quests in all of the zones. Keep that in mind. You do quests in all of the zones, but for one reason or another, you decide that you only can pick one. Give me a fucking break.
story that will play out after you make that choice.
Give me a fucking break.
I think that's a pretty sensible thing. I have absolutely no idea what kind of RPGs people are playing, where at the end game you get to make some sort of choice that makes no sense inside the entire world, that hampers your choices of your gameplay in some way. I don't know that game. I've looked at every game suggestion. None of them have that aspect. It's just one of those things. And I'm sorry to say that, because I was also hoping, as many people know, I was also hoping that the Covenants would open up a whole world of RPG options for us. I would have loved that if I chose Kyrian and my friend chose Venthea, that at some point, maybe we sided together, but maybe we broke that trust, maybe we betrayed each other, maybe our world quests are similar to the Assault quests that are currently in BFA, but we're doing different things, because now I'm working against you. Perhaps I've taken over one of your flight points later in the game, and we can meme each other, and we're telling a story, we're growing memories and doing all those things.
Yeah, it's slightly different.
That's not to say at some point...
Well, it's like your goal is the Jimmy story. That's your fucking goal. It's the Jimmy story. It's like where they're Aldor and Scryer and it doesn't really matter or have anything to do with it. It's just the Jimmy story. That's all they need to do.
Might implement that. But right now, with what's happening in the Shadowlands, when we make this choice and the setting it's in, it makes no sense. It doesn't work. And saying that, well, in 9.2 or 9.3, you'll see the big reveal, that doesn't work. Because we already made that choice so long ago in the context of that world.
Yeah, you don't even know where the choice is leading.
Then. It has to happen when it makes sense. Otherwise, it's just entirely contrived, which the system ultimately is. So, I'm sorry about that. For those of you who did write me those passionate emails, I did read them. I didn't reply to all of them.
Pretty early.
Unfortunately, it's just not the case.
Pretty early.
Coming back to it then.
I don't know exactly, though.
What are my predictions for this system? Well, Blizzard has put out this survey, which means they still have this on their radar, so there's a chance they will change it. I'm pessimistic at best about this.
I think Preach is wrong about that. I think that Blizzard is purely just asking, what about the talents? Are they overpowered or not? They don't really care about people's experience, in terms of swapping, the quality of life of swapping the covenants. That's not even part of it. I don't think they give a shit about that. They're just asking about if the abilities are good. But, I mean, I hope Preach is right and I'm wrong, but I don't know. I guess we'll have to see.
So, I mean, that should be no surprise to anybody. So
Yeah.
my prediction is they probably won't, although I have a glimmer of hope in my eye, a sparkle that, yes, they will. But it's a case of, I think it will go live this way. What this also means, then, is when is this going to hit the fan? Because as much as I'm getting personally attacked now, that's not that strange. Happened with Azerite Armor, happened with the Allegiant Legendary
Yep,
acquisition.
I remember that.
All things that eventually did cause problems, but not...
I remember I actually disagreed with Preach originally on the Legion Legendaries because Blizzard released the announcement for the Legendaries and Legion whenever they said that you would be able to target them. And he was like, okay, well, this is going to be, it's whatever, right? And it's not going to be good. And I'm like, well, if you can target them, who gives a fuck? You just go after the Legendary and you get it. And personally attacking video YouTubers over video game mechanics... yeah, welcome to 2020. Glad you made it. Fuck, I wonder what it's gonna be next year. Yeah, of course.
Happy about that. I just wish it didn't go live that way. It's probably going to happen the exact
He was getting
same
sleepy?
way.
Got it. I'll finish it after
Most
this.
people do not watch this video. Most
understand.
people who play World of Warcraft have absolutely no idea about any of this stuff. They're going to be completely surprised when they realize their Covenant choice also involved soulbinds. Who are the soulbinds? Oh, these characters I met while I was leveling. I had no idea they had a talent tree.
Yeah.
I had no idea about conduits. I had no idea that I then had to farm legendaries. I had no idea that I had to then go to the Maw to farm things for my Sanctum. This is going to be all new to all players.
Yeah,
for a lot
it's
of
a lot of
players
new things.
once the game actually comes out. So it's going to take a little while. But it's going to happen. Some people are going to make a choice very early on based on what they did while leveling. And as you'll see if you read through the thread that I posted, a lot of people did not get any use out of their spells while leveling because they don't work while you're leveling.
Why not?
It turns out those spells are really, really good when you stop leveling. When you do the actual endgame content, they become very, very relevant. But while leveling, they're pointless. They don't do anything. So they didn't choose them. Then they figure out it's what I want. They can change very quickly. Okay. Resolved, right? Well, for some players, it's going to work that way. Then more and more players are going to start hitting the wall where they start noticing things. They're going to start noticing that maybe one of these soulbinds does a flat 5% extra damage. And
yeah, that would help.
It sucks because we're both the same player, the same class. But he just does 5% more? What's that? And that's going to be a thing.
Hey, bro, you should have picked the right covenant, man. Yeah, you should have picked the right one. Bro, the video is like 2 minutes from being over.
Doing their BGs,
okay,
and seeing
guys.
that their fellow friends are doing things they can't do, and then they're going to be in an arena, and the hunter they're fighting, although it's a mirror match, can shoot through walls. I can't. All these things are going to start happening and bunching up. We're then going to have the Mythic Plus scenario come up, and I recommend you watch Tettel's video on that as well. I'll link it down below. But there's another situation. They've added these buffs to dungeons. So if you think right now you've got a bunch of friends who you enjoy doing Mythic Plus with, you are now forced to start thinking about who's going to pick up each of the covenants.
Yeah.
And if you, God forbid, that you mix and match some teams sometimes because you're friends, you're going to have to take that into account as well. Because although this idea of the meaningful choice, there are restrictions in place.
Yes,
there are definite, real-world, tangible conflicts with making this choice. It's as simple as that. These are all very real things, and after a couple of months, it's going to start to bunch up. All the different elements of the player base are going to start hitting this wall. Of course, at the same time, people will call the system great. People will say, I chose what I wanted from the start, I always play this spec, and I don't mind the spell, it doesn't affect me, or it's fine for what I do.
Yeah, what a great argument. It's fine because I don't care about it. What an amazing, brilliant, what a great argument, man. Yeah, it's great. I don't care about it.
And it's fine. And therefore the system is a success. We're going to have that as well.
Yeah.
That is ultimately definitely going to be a thing where if people who either are unaffected by it or simply look at their friends doing things that they wish they could do but knowing they can't.
Which is fair.
Is a fun experience, which it very well could be for a lot of people, and calling it a success. I feel like this is the consequence that I asked for. We're not going to win this one. Let's put it that way. We're not going to win everybody over with this one. But
no, I don't think so.
I feel in my heart of hearts, this is just a disaster waiting to happen. I don't know why they're doubling down on it.
I agree with that,
and if you're listening, Blizzard, I can't see. I've heard what you think is going to happen. Like, idyllic.
What Blizzard thinks is going to happen. Isn't that funny, dude? What Blizzard thinks is going to happen? Because that's always what happens, is what Blizzard thinks is going to happen.
Inclusion of people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This ain't it, Chief. This ain't it. I'm up for meaningful choices. I absolutely am. But I'm certainly not up for destroying and restricting players for seemingly entirely contrived reasons in order to achieve it. That's not what I'm down for. Thank you so much for listening, guys. I'll see you again. Bye-bye.
So true. These raids and bosses are going to be designed around specific covenants. Who really gives a fuck? Aren't going to be designed around it. You're right, and that's going to restrict the amount of ways that they can design to fight, right? Because they don't want to overly, give advantage to one covenant, which means that they have to worry too much about another set of restrictions on designing fights, which will make them ultimately maybe more boring. So I think that's a problem too. So I know obviously I don't speak for everyone whenever I think this is a problem, and I know some people think it'll be fine, but I find that most of the people that argue against what my argument with covenants is and also preaches are mainly making an argument out of apathy, like it won't matter or I don't care, rather than an actual argument as to how the system is healthy for the game. And that's what I really think is a problem. And I think also, like, any argument that really people are making about it being healthy is usually a theoretical argument that's countered by actual evidence of similar systems that Blizzard has put in the game over the years that haven't worked out that way.